Okay. So when we think of Sir Alex Ferguson, we think as an absolute legend, got everything right, never got anything wrong. We think of Cantona, Keane, Scholes, Rooney, Ronaldo, and even the greatest manager of all time. Got one or two things wrong. So today we're building Man United's worst 11 of the Fergie Premier League era. But before anyone panics, this isn't about showing disrespect to these players. It's not about attacking anyone. It's just having a bit of fun, picking a really bad team that would get absolutely fucking relegated today if they were playing. Some were emergency signings, some were raw gambles, some came through the academy, and some were just a bad fit. But all of them played in the Premier League for Manchester United under Sir Alex. So that alone gives them some sort of credibility. And here we go. Start with the goalkeeper. Okay, so the goalkeeper, and it can only be one person, Massimo Taibi. He arrives from Venice, a good reputation in Italy. The man brought in to replace Peter Schmeichel. No pressure in that, obviously. Big reputation, big gloves. And then he plays Southampton. Matt Letitia smashes one, doesn't really, dribbles it along the floor, and the ball goes through his legs. Through his goddamn legs. I work with a wee guy. This wee guy has a wee girlfriend. She could have been standing in goal, putting on her fucking makeup, taking selfies, and still done a better job of saving this shot. Any Man United fan who says Massimo Taibi, they immediately just think about this ball rolling through his damn legs. 4 Premier League appearances, and Fergie was like, nah, had enough, get the fuck, back to Italy, where he actually had a pretty decent career after it, but at Man United, no, just no. Taibi should never have been there. Okay, now left back we have Alexander Büttner. He was signed from Vitesse from Holland. He was back up for Evra. There was low expectations. This guy was always going to just be back up for Evra. But then he comes on and he scores on his debut. Of course he does. You're thinking, what the fuck? Fergie's pulled one at the back here. Have we found someone? But then defensively, he was adventurous. He was never going to ever take Evra's place. 2 seasons, in and out. Plenty of enthusiasm, zero longevity. In fact, he probably got Man United, thought, yes, I've made it, and then just down tools. He was a fun cameo. The debut was brilliant, but he was never going to be the man. Lucky to be there in the first place. Okay, next we have a young boy, Jonathon Spector. Signed him from Chicago Fire, American team, versatile. Play right back, could play centre back, could fill in there. Mainly as a right back. And that was his story with filling in. He just filled in. 3 Premier League appearances. Never disastrous, but never commanding, never grabbing his opportunity. Then he went to West Ham. There was no chaos. There was no brilliance. Just one of those names you completely forget about. Someone you have to actually look up on Google and say, did he actually play for Man United? Oh, yeah, so he fucking did. But yeah, so Jonathon Spector. Okay, now William Prunier. Yeah, that's right. I said William Prunier. It was an emergency situation back in the mid-90s. United needed a centre-back. Fergie needed a body. Enter William Prunier. Now, this guy had a pretty good fucking reputation in France. I think we should have checked his fucking passport because we did not get that guy. We got some dodgy, baldy motherfucker that did not know how to defend. It was chaotic. He played against Tottenham. They got absolutely smashed 4-1, and this is when Man United were fucking at their pomp. Tottenham's beating them 4-1. So you can safe to say it did not go well. And that was basically his audition. Back to France. See ya. Don't come back. His career continued, but at United, he's the ultimate. What the fuck was Fergie thinking? Okay, next we have Danny Higginbotham, and he's an academy lad, and he's probably a bit disrespectful to him to put him on this list, but because he was a solid pro, he did work hard, he did try, but 4 Premier League appearances across a few seasons, he was never going to be the next big thing. He was always a squad player at best, always a bottom of the barrel type. If there's an injury crisis, let's get him on. He done his job. Credit to him. There was no big errors. There was no drama. We moved him on after a few seasons of just being a squad player. It was okay. Probably disrespectful to put him on this list, but defenders have generally been okay signings by Fergie. No real disasters there. Goalkeepers, shocking. Midfielders, non-existent. But yeah, defenders, he's usually been pretty good at it. So yeah. Now into midfield, and I'm pretty sure every single person would put this person on here. Darren Ferguson. Academy product. Yep, that same Ferguson, manager's son. Keane very, very funnily said one day that Ferguson was never always doing the best thing for Man United, and playing his son in midfield was proof of that point. It was extremely funny and went kind of viral. But Darren Ferguson never was going to have it easy, simply being the manager's son. He got 18 Premier League appearances early on in the Premier League. It was okay at best. In fact, no, he should never have been there. He should have been sent out a long time ago. But this was a midfield that had Ince, it had Keane, there was Scholes emerging. So even if he had a bit of talent, it was always going to be extremely hard to get in amongst that. But he really didn't have much talent. So if you're not going to compete, then why are you going to be there? He was moved on pretty quickly. And he eventually builds a not bad managerial career in the low English leagues. But yeah, he was lucky to be the manager's son. Keane got it bang on with that one. Now for Liam Miller. Now, if Keane was bang on about Darren Ferguson, he was fucking way off with this one. He was recommended to Man United from Roy Keane, I believe, when he was up in Celtic. He was signed from Celtic, highly rated up there. Technically, very good, a brilliant left foot. But Premier League isn't all about being tidy on the ball. Premier League is a physical fucking disaster if you're not built for it. He had 9 Premier League appearances. There was a few flashes, but no real breakthrough. He was moved on after an extremely short spell. Good footballer, but never ever could make it in the Premier League simply because he was not physical enough. If you're not physical enough, then you need to be a magician on the ball, and he just wasn't that good. He was okay, but was not that good. Keane got that one wrong. Okay, and in the attacking midfield spot, we're going to go with Nick Powell. He was signed from Crewe. Huge, I mean, huge potential. This was the next big thing sort of signing. And of course, he scores on his debut, his league debut. It was always going to happen. And you're thinking, yep, Fergie done well to get this guy because a lot of clubs are looking at him. Scores in his debut, but only 3 league appearances under Fergie. And you're thinking, why is this guy not starting more? Why is he not just playing more? Then the loans start coming, then the injuries start coming, and that was it. Totally derailed. Never nailed down a role. You never really nailed down a position. Thinking about it, was he a false 9? Was he a 10? Was he an 8? Even now, I don't know where he's actually playing, and he's still playing, I believe. But we moved him on. At United, it was all promise, but it just didn't materialise. You can say he was unlucky with injuries, but if you're that talented, if you're that good, you come back from an injury and you keep going. So yeah, Nick Powell's on the list, deservedly. Now for the second one that I believe every single person would have had on this list, we have Bebe. He was signed from Victoria out of fucking nowhere for about £7 million. That's the number that comes after 6, and million comes, with 6 fucking zeros. What the hell? What was that about? There was zero build up. One day he's there, the day before he wasn't. We never heard of him before in our lives. Even Fergie later admitted that he'd never seen the boy playing. 2, let me say it again, for £7 million, 2 Premier League appearances. Now, don't get me wrong, the physical attributes on the guy was insane. He was powerful, athletic, fast, definitely unpolished. The loans, he actually didn't do too bad when he was loaned out, but not a villain. Now for the attackers, we're going to start with the wingers, and we have Gabriel Obertan. Signed from Bordeaux, he was rapid, extremely rapid, like the Flash sort of rapid. It was a classic raw talent signing. You could see the idea. He could beat a man, then beat another man, and then, the end product, he'd be smashing the ball into the fucking stands. Maybe a lot like a modern day Garnacho, actually, thinking about it. You get 14 Premier League appearances, flashes of excitement, lots of frustration. Actually does sound like Garnacho, doesn't it? He got a move to Newcastle. I believe he played like 50, 60, 70 games for Newcastle. He was never really Premier League quality. Now we are talking about Garnacho right here. He's not. Anyway, back to the video. But at United, there was seconds of chaos. Brilliant now and again, but most of the time frustrating. So yeah, Gabriel Obertan. And now for the big striker, Big Dong Fangzhuo. I'm probably murdered that. I've absolutely butchered it, but who cares? Signed from Dalian Shade. I've probably butchered that as well. Why is every Chinese fucking words got to be so weird? It was historic in the fact that first Chinese player to play for Man United's first team. Woo! Also, I wonder if it was just a commercial signing. There was a bit of spotlight on him simply because it was China and it was the first one for Man United's first team. But work permit issues meant, I believe they signed him in 2004. He did not get his work permit until 2007. You would think, fucking get the work permit first. As a player, as a human being, get the fucking work permit. And then signed for Man United. I'm not sure how much we paid for him, but yeah, I think it was done the wrong way around. Or maybe you only get a work permit if you're playing in Europe. I don't know how it works. But anyway, it felt like a cameo. It was one league appearance. I believe it was in the 2006-07 title winning squad. I don't know if one league appearance gets you a medal, but anyway, you get moved on. It was historic, but just commercially historic. And that's about it for the squad. Okay, and there you have it. Fergie's most rubbish Premier League 11. Not villains, not disasters, just the players that are at the bottom of the barrel. Some of them shouldn't have even been in the barrel, but they all got minutes. They all got starts under Fergie in the Premier League. Let me know who shouldn't have been on the list. Let me know who I've missed. Let me know who you think should be on the list. Yeah, just a bit of fun. So, catch you later, guys.